So I grew up in a little city in the southwest called Plymouth, um, just on a border of Cornwall. Very good childhood, if I'm honest. I'm very fortunate and very grateful for it. Working class family, uh, terraced house in a regular neighborhood. Did what a lot of young men did. Who were born in the 80s and raised in the 90s, which is get up to mischief until the streetlights came on. All my friends were older than I was, which I believe helped me to grow up a little bit quicker than I should have. So Plymouth's a big military city. We've got a huge naval base. We have the Royal Marines headquarters down there. We've got army camps down there. The whole southwest of the UK is quite a big military hub. So growing up, I was kind of surrounded by it. All of my friends who were older than I was had already left school while I was still in school, and some of them had gone into the military. And I liked what their lives looked like. You know, when they came home on leave, they always seemed to have money. They were quite fit. They were always telling me these stories about driving tanks and shooting guns, and it sounded kind of cool. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do as I was approaching the end of school. But, you know, based on my love for health and fitness and sport, combined with what these friends were telling me, it seemed like a good idea to, you know, go down the military route. Well, I got the paperwork when I was 15 and a half. Got it signed by my parents because you had to be 16 back then to pursue that career, and then left school after doing my exams and went straight in at 17. I went to join the army because I didn't even know who the Royal Marines were. One of my friends who was in the tank regiment took me to the career centre when I was 15 and a half to get that paperwork. And when I asked my parents to sign it, they told me I had an uncle who was a former Royal Marine, and he lived halfway between our house and the Commando Training Centre. So that weekend, we went to visit him. Sat down, had a chat with him. He had done a full 22-year career, and he had gone from the rank of Marine, which is the Royal Marines equivalent of private, up to a captain in his 22-year career. And he told me all about the things he had done and experienced. He told me why the Royal Marines were slightly different to regular branches of the military. And then I went back to the career centre where I got my paperwork from originally and watched the Royal Marine recruitment video, and it just blew my mind. I get goosebumps now just thinking about that video. And from that moment, that was all I wanted to do. I wanted to see if I had what it took physically, mentally, and spiritually to be able to join this band of brothers that I'd seen and heard about. So the Royal Marines are very specialised. We are naval, amphibious troops. If you were going to compare it, I think, to American military, we're kind of on par with the Navy SEALs. We're not special forces. We're like the step down from that, but a lot of Royal Marines do go on to fill those roles in the special forces. Went and started recruit training in February 2001, and the only way I can describe the first day and that first 2-week period would be like drinking from a fire hose. It's 1,000 mile an hour. There's too much information to take in. It's overwhelming. You're running everywhere. You have no idea what you're doing. It feels like you're drowning. It's overwhelming. It's scary. You're surrounded by, well, I was surrounded by 64 other men. I was still a boy. I was terrified. Most of the first week when I went to bed at night, I wanted to go home. I think one night I might have even cried. I detested it. I hated it. But for some reason, just stuck with it and took it day by day. I first deployed to Iraq in 2003 when I was 19, on something called Operation Telic 1, which was the initial push over the Kuwait Iraqi border. I deployed there for 3.5 months, um, came back physically and mentally in one piece, fortunately. Um, but yeah, I experienced it at a very young age. It wasn't quite what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a lot more action-packed for a Royal Marines commander on the front line. It was for some of my friends and colleagues, but for me, in the roles that I was fulfilling, I didn't really see a lot. The first 6 to 8 weeks, we were just sat in Kuwait, waiting for the call to go over the border. But the worst thing I think for me was the chemical weapon threat. So a lot of the time we would be sat in trenches in what we call Cat 3 Romeo, which is your full military uniform, with a NBC suit on the top, with a respirator on, with the hood up, sat in the desert heat, just, it sounds a bit exaggerated, but just waiting for your skin to start boiling and your lungs to start burning because you couldn't see or smell or detect any of these chemicals that were being used. So, when the alarms went off, you just sat in a trench hoping for the best.